As a designer, you know clients want it all. A stunning site that runs their business and scales with their success. But tight deadlines shouldn't mean compromising your vision. Wix Studio is built for designers like you. Plan sites in seconds with AI-powered site mapping. Then design, starting in Figma or in the Wix Studio editor with precise layout tools. Then bring your vision to life with no-code animations, AI tools, and one-click responsive design. Design smoother and deliver sooner. Go to wixstudio.com.
You'll get more than you expect with McValue at McDonald's. Like deals on your late night go-tos when the party goes till dawn. And savings on their faves. So date night always passes the vibe check. Plus, when the fam shows up for the weekend, you can show out for breakfast.
Buy one breakfast sandwich, add one for $1. Only in the app. Limited time only at participating McDonald's. Valid once a day. Must opt into rewards. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
All right, Kyle T. Mosley of HBCU Legends on with Mr. Hardy Pelt, CRO of Urban Edge Network, and the visionary behind a lot of what's been going down when it comes to controlling your content for HBCUs. And Hardy, you know, just recently what came out, North Carolina Central versus South Carolina State game that was on ESPN for Saturday. That's an important game. Number one, it can control the destiny of both of those teams going toward the Celebration Bowl, who could possibly be the MEAC champion as well. Well, ESPN didn't think enough about that. So they decide, because there's a conflict with another premier game that they would like to focus on, they switched it over to Friday at 5 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what?
Arguably,
what?
arguably the biggest game that's going to take place during this HBCU season. Definitely the biggest game of the MEAC season.
Exactly.
And understand, when we started Urban Edge Network 4 years ago, the biggest pushback we would get when I was confronting the white-owned media sports companies was that they don't have the numbers. And I would say, well, of course they don't have the numbers. You're putting the games on at 11 o'clock at night, rebroadcast on a weekend. And they would all look shocked, like, how the hell does he know that? This is nothing strange or different now. They see the momentum. Mm-hmm. They see what's going on. And in my opinion, they've decided, well, now let's take their biggest game, because we can't put it on during this regular time, because when the numbers come out, we're going to find out that their numbers are just as good as everybody else's, and we're going to have to treat them that way. The strategy is real simple. Put it on Thursday, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock when everybody's working, and then come back and say, see, nobody watched it. It's the oldest trick in the book.
Oldest trick in the book, and we're falling for the okie doke. Not only, go ahead, go hard. Sorry.
No, falling for the okie doke, and let me be clear so there's no misunderstanding. The one thing that terrifies these media companies more than anything is Black unity. And when we started the network, I told you the only reason why I started originally was to show them and Black folk that we could do this. And we can do it in an innovative way for the schools to sustain themselves moving forward. That old business model did not work for HBCUs. It never have worked. It was never designed to work. It was only to control you so that you didn't start your own network. Because if you start your network, you're taking the number one consumer with you, and they could not have that.
So if that's the case, Hardy, you're taking your number one consumer with you. Why is there still not a priority on supporting what you would think would be a lucrative business for the big letter networks?
Well, again, because Black folk are spending almost $2 trillion a year now.
I thought it was up to 3, but go ahead.
It's getting up there. As soon as the numbers come out, you don't tell her what it'll be.
Yeah.
The priority is keep them as consumers. Don't let them become owners. Keep them as the consumer. And part of that strategy revolves around making sure that they never unify amongst themselves. So let me be very specific. One of the presidents from one of the predominantly white institutions of the NAIA that signed up with us asked me a question. And the question he said was, why haven't the HBCUs jumped all over this? And I responded to him and said, because they were trained not to.
Well, the operative word there is trained.
That is correct. We've been trained that only white people can do this. In fact, the agencies believe that.
And explain what you mean by agencies.
So the agencies believed that they had created a system full of minutia and what I call minutia and systems, to where black people begin to believe this was all about their content. They never understood that this was about impressions and KPIs. And a KPI, again, is a key performance indicator, which means who they're trying to reach. And let's be clear, every brand of every market, of every product starts their marketing plan with, how do we get the black people to buy it first? Because they'll set the culture for everybody else to buy it. I don't care what category you're talking about, from beer to automobile to betting. How do we get the black people to buy it first? So they created this system to where black people needed white validation to be legitimate. Once that took place, then fine, they were ready to go. So when we decided to start the network, everybody attacked us as scammers, if you remember. It's because they were taught to call us scammers. Nobody knew what the scam was, because they were like, well, this is the worst scam ever. If they had thought about it, this would have been the worst scam ever, because they were giving the HBCUs money.
It was out of ignorance, right? It was more out of ignorance, not understanding. It's not that you're scamming. They're like, we couldn't understand how someone of a black nature is doing what ESPN is doing.
100%, sir. It's because they had been taught only white people could do this and only ESPN could do it. Now, let me show you the difference. The black folk kept saying, well, ESPN's giving us exposure. And when I first heard that, I thought, well, maybe I'm misunderstanding what they're saying. Is there some money attached to this exposure word you guys keep talking about? Who cares? Because remember when we started in 2021, not one agency holding company had ever heard of an HBCU other than Grambling.
Oh, time out. So, guys, what he's saying is not one agency, the people who control where the dollars are going to the market, right?
That's right.
Knew who an HBCU was.
They couldn't name three.
They couldn't name three. They probably could name what? Grambling and what? Southern?
Yep. No, let me tell you what they named. They named Grambling. They would say Dion School. They wouldn't even say, I would say
they couldn't even say Jackson State.
I would say Jackson State. They would say Dion School, and they had heard of, oh my God, what's the other school? It's in Charlotte, I think.
You talking about NCCU or North Carolina A&T?
No, North Carolina A&T.
Okay, all right, gotcha.
And that's because they have a huge engineering school, apparently.
Yeah, very, very prominent. Do a lot of research as well. So yeah.
Yeah, and then they mentioned Tuskegee, but they had the wrong Tuskegee. The Tuskegee, they would say, were the airmen. They didn't realize the airmen had nothing to do with the school.
Oh my God! So there's a lot of ignorance on the people who control the dollars, not understanding how they can attach with the HBCU content or black sports content, right?
That's right.
And to be able to make it a win-win situation.
That's correct. And then they had no way to buy it because of the system they set up. The system is based on measurements. So the reason why you see the NAIA schools immediately jumped onto our platform is because they understood clearly that because they had just as many impressions together as the SEC or the Big Ten all together, they went, oh, we got it. So it doesn't matter the brand of our school. The buyer's only buying the impressions and the KPIs. Again, that's why we got the Sargento deal all of a sudden. Because I was going, what the heck is Sargento buying us for? And I realized it's because now I got white people.
Okay, all right.
So Sargento, IKEA, Ulster, they all said, yeah, he's got the demos, he's got the brands, let's go. It's the same thing with the HBCUs, and we were using Grambling because most people think we were trying to sell the SWAC conference. We weren't. They had never heard of the SWAC conference. They had heard of Grambling, and the reason why we cared about Grambling was because it was a big enough brand for me to at least include them into the conversation of saying, oh, we've got contribution that can go to the HBCU. We can measure it and buy it.
Wow. Okay, guys, because Hardy's giving you another class here. So based upon, think about your website or think about your apps or whatever. Okay.
Right. Mm-hmm.
The impressions are made every time somebody visits the site.
That's right.
Therefore, in order to measure or to be able to track those impressions or those visitors, you have to have what you call tags, right?
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And like website owners, we would know people want to visit our site. We had to have cookies in order to track where they go afterward, right?
You got it.
But these impressions are important for advertisers to know how many people are watching their ads. And the more people watching their ads, the better return on their investment, correct?
That's right. That is correct. And remember the content. Remember, black people were taught to show. As my partner Todd always says, we weren't taught the business.
That's right.
So that's
hey, thank you, Todd. Thank you, Todd.
Todd says that all the time. So you always hear, that's why you see black people running around trying to get content. Urban Edge did it opposite, which I do all my deals backwards anyways, everybody says. But I went and said, no, let's go get the technology that allows the agencies to buy us, and then I'll fill in the content part. Because the content's everywhere. What ain't everywhere is how in the world, why are they skipping over black people in the economics of this? If we're so important as a customer, well, that should transcend everything, because race don't matter when it comes down to money. It's green at that point. Well, how did black people get left out of the process of the economics of media? That's what I wanted to know. And it didn't take me long, even the way we were treated when we first came into the spot was like, oh my God, you were trained to attack me.
Meaning other black people were trained to attack you.
Yes.
Not advertisers, but other blacks.
Not the advertisers, right.
Yeah.
And that's why I said my hypothesis was all wrong, Kyle. I thought the corporations and the agencies had their foots on the necks of these HBCUs, and I went in there with fire and brimstone every meeting, kicking over tables, going, stop being discriminatory against my people. And they were like, Hardy, hold up. It ain't that we're racist. It's that we can't buy it. And I went, what are you talking about? So when they told me, which Todd, thank God for Todd Brown. Todd Brown already knew the problem. Mm-hmm. And when he explained it to me, and then they backed it up and said, yes, that's why we can't buy it. I went, oh my God. Well, then let me go tell my people what the deal is. And I got attacked for it. I was like,
okay.
Wait a second. I didn't walk in here talking about exposure. They did.
Right.
So you should be mad at them because they know they went to bed at night. I'm going to say again, NBC would sleep well at night. Those executives slept well at night knowing they were charging $2 million to Southern and Grambling for the biggest game they had going that day.
Guys, all right. Let me break it down to you like a 4-year-old, right?
Knowing that. And I went, are you crazy?
So in other words, Hardy, what NBC was doing was saying, okay, you guys have this big production called the Bayou Classic that's well known, the granddaddy of all the classics. Mm-hmm. So therefore, if you want it on our network, pay us $2 million so we will broadcast your production.
That's correct. They hid that under. That's what it costs for production. Y'all pick up production. And
so, in essence, what were they doing in the back end to earn more money? We talk about NBC.
Yeah. So they go to upfronts.
What's an upfront? What's an upfront?
The upfront is a meeting, if you will, where they meet with the 6 holding companies, and holding companies are just agencies that control the other agencies. So all the agencies fall under one of 6 companies, no matter where you see them, they're all owned by one of the big 6, okay?
Okay.
And they have these annual meetings where you tell them what's upcoming. And
Oh,
because the
up
Bayou Classic
front.
is
You tell them up front. Okay,
you
gotcha.
tell them up front, and right. And so you say, so NBC would say, oh, by the way, in the fourth quarter for live sports, which is huge, by the way, live sports is huge. And they go, we got the Bayou Classic. And let's say they walk out of there with anywhere from $12 to $24 million worth of advertising commitments in January. In this particular case, the last time they did it, they didn't even have a contract with the Bayou Classic, and they were selling it.
So they sold someone else's
inventory.
content and product
Yes.
to the advertisers in January. Now, the Bayou
Yes.
Classic takes place at the end of November,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And they sold those rights for advertising, or commitments, got the commitments for the advertising, correct?
Yes. That's correct.
So therefore,
There was
the
commitments from that.
$24 million, let's say they didn't get all $24 million. Let's say they just got $20 million.
It's all hypothetical. But let's just say they did. They said they did $12 million.
Yeah, okay. Let's say they did $12 million. They got the $12 million put into their coffers, to their wallets, to their whatever.
Yep.
They got the SWAC conference paying them 2 million, right?
That's correct.
So altogether, they're raking in the money.
That's correct. My understanding is Grambling's foundations paid the $2 million.
Okay, so the foundation that pays them the money, right? So in essence, why didn't they say to the SWAC, hey, since we already got 14 million, we know you guys are a struggling conference.
Yeah.
Y'all don't have to pay us this money.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, we should be paying y'all that money.
Now do you see why I was so upset when people attacked us? Like, what are you attacking us for? There's somebody scamming you, and it ain't Urban Edge Network. Urban Edge Network is just trying to tell you the truth. Now, the reason why, and people say, well, why would he tell us? And I said, because I can tell you how to dunk a basketball. You physically doing it is two different things.
True.
But I can tell you.
Yeah.
But I need you to know the fundamentals of what this is so you don't get tricked. So in other words, if somebody walked into your office right now and said, hey, Kyle, let me give you some exposure to help build your brand. You'll be like, nah, I pay for that because I'm bringing an audience to you.
Right.
I'm building your platform. So why you're going to pay me to bring my audience over? It's one of the reasons why we canceled our deal even with DirecTV is because we're like, no, we're good. I want everybody to have to download our app. I'm not going to separate my audience to appease you guys.
So in essence, the Urban Edge Networks app has its content on its own platform.
And it's the only way you can see it.
So you have to come to that to see it.
You got to come. Just like TikTok, just like LinkedIn. If you want to see LinkedIn's content, you can't find LinkedIn content nowhere else except on the LinkedIn app. If you want to see, that's why we rose to 19 million people so fast. They went, how did you do that? I said, because if you want to see Dillard basketball tonight, you got to download the app. The NBA, when they turned around and promoted the app as far as their G League is concerned, and then, of course, the NAIA come along and said, well, the only way you can see it is either on our network or on this app, which is all connected. All those pipes are connected, so we get all the impressions. That's when everybody went, oh, my God, we got to stop these guys because they're going to mess up our entire system that we've been using to take advantage of black folk. So when people ask me, I'm extremely excited that the SWAC decided to start their own network. I love it. However, I'm praying that they didn't go back to the same people who negotiated the crazy deals they were in the first place as the so-called quote-unquote experts to help them with this.
Okay, so the SWAC TV app, if you guys didn't know, Dr. Charles McClellan, the commissioner, he announced on July 16th that at the SWAC Football Media Day that the conference has its own app. They went to the SEC and I think it was Big 12 as well. They had meetings with those guys to be able to understand how to be able to operate the app and how to be able to produce their own content, yada, 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 right? So in essence, now it has debuted. Thousands of people have downloaded the app thus far. And based upon the premise of what we know, Hardy, you're saying you hope they understand they're getting the impressions that's necessary and getting paid for the impressions.
Very important, because now, just so you know, we do know that they reached out to our tech team, because our tech team had to call us for permission. And of course, we granted permission for them to show them everything. And like I said, because I can show you, but you doing it is two different things. But
they reached out to the same tech team that helped develop the Urban Edge app. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. So we picked a team of tech experts, but we told them what we wanted based on our knowledge of what needed to be done. My understanding is when those guys reached out to us, some of them reached out to us and said they had been contacted by representatives of the conference, and would we give them permission to speak to them? And of course, we granted it immediately, because the SWAC TV network must work. If it doesn't, it can, quote me, it can put the HBCUs back 20 years.
Yeah. So, guys, it's very important to support SWAC TV. Go out, watch, download the app, watch it.
Even if you download the app and don't watch it, download it and just turn it on during the day.
Just turn it on. So, and that's why I was telling, it's funny. That's what I was telling people. They were like, wow, how come we have to go to the Urban Edge app? And I said, well, that helps us.
Yes. Yeah, that's why you have to give people an understanding of what's going on. Is that I had to explain to a guy before. He said, well, wait a second, if you're only in the app, what does that do? I said, well, you can only get TikTok on the app. And look how big it is, because it's the only way you can get it.
Right.
And he stopped and paused, and he went, oh, yeah, I guess you're right. It's just, again, we had been trained that only white people could do this. Think about it for a second. There are no black people in any administrative roles of dispersing media dollars in any agency. We're 14% of the population. You mean to tell me ain't no black people qualified to run an agency?
Yeah.
None?
Yeah.
Why do you think there's only two or three of us who can even do this?
Yeah. Yeah. It's about control. It's about controlling the dollars, and they don't want you to make sense. So
that's right. That's right. But I'll give you one last one, and this is important. Right now, people complained about the OBC. And I said, well, remember, the OBC is in the same boat that the Classic's in. They don't pay any money for that. The OBC makes no money from ESPN from that.
Why doesn't ESPN pay the Orange Blossom Classic?
Because nobody asked them.
What do you mean?
Remember,
you mean nobody from their executive team say, hey, can you guys pay us?
Orange Blossom Classic didn't have anybody in the room that would say, that's not the way you do a deal. Remember, we were public enemy number one when we said, hey, wait a second, you guys are doing this wrong. This is not the way you do it. But they were listening to these white consultants who was, for whatever reason, they knew what they were talking about. We confronted one of them right in front of a commissioner. I won't say the name of the commissioner, but we confronted the guy. And by the time me and Ty got off the phone with the guy turned around and apologized to us and said, yeah, you got us.
So in essence, there's been some sort of a collusion behind the scenes when it comes to the advertising agencies.
In my opinion, 100% yes.
Okay.
And I can only fault us as black folk because we were trained to get white validation. And when a black guy came along and said, that's not the way you do it, everybody attacked the black guy, not the white guy who was stealing from him.
Well,
and I want to say, what's the president's name? Lyndon Johnson, I believe, has a quote, something to the effect of, if you ever want to get a poor white man to vote with what you got going on, just make him think it's going to hurt somebody else, and you can steal right out of his pocket.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
I'll make him feel like he's better than the best black man. Yes, right.
Yeah, there's a phrase that they use in the media marketing world, and when I first heard it, I almost slapped the person that was telling it to me, but they were concerned that we were educating the HBCUs. So remember, Todd has a background all his life in the media side. I have a background in sports marketing. And they would reach out and say, why are you helping them? In other words, you guys
hold time out. Who's reaching out to you to ask you what?
Oh, the agencies. I had a
why is that a problem for those agencies?
Because if black people can think about, I'm gonna say one more time, we're like you said, we're damn near $3 trillion now.
Mm-hmm.
If black people come out of their sleep and realize they're the ones driving the economy, well, everybody's gonna be put out of business in their mind. They're like, if black people support black stuff, then we're stuck. Why do you think these people openly said they were going to give percentages of their budget to black-owned media, and right up in front of our face said, no, we can't call it black, we're going to call it multicultural. Oh, by the way, we ain't even going to do it. And oh, by the way, and what you Negroes going to do about it? Because y'all fighting amongst yourselves.
Right.
Y'all busy fighting Urban Edge. Urban Edge is, which happened just how they thought it was. The people from Pepsi are on the record of saying that's a fight between them. It ain't got nothing to do with us. And we were coming after them for discriminating, for committing the $400 million that they didn't do.
Okay.
Just tell them, and they'll fight the very guy that's trying to help them. They won't even listen to them. That was their guesstimation of here's how to handle this crisis, because we don't have any other way to fight it.
Yeah. Well, it's almost like what Jesus said: they always will kill the prophet, right?
Yeah. They said no respect in his hometown. But that's why I said I wasn't worried about that, because the system will take care of that. And this is no disrespect, because I've always respected Byron Allen and the work he's done, because Byron worked his way. Nobody gave him anything. Mm-hmm. Byron worked his way to where he was. But I said when they signed that deal, it ain't going to last 5 years. Not because it was something wrong with Byron or something wrong. The system won't let you have a deal like that.
Yeah, if you guys don't know, right now the first major supposedly HBCU or black media deal with an HBCU conference, sports conference, was the HBCU Go deal with the SWAC. And at this time, it's our understanding, we haven't gotten confirmation, and they haven't been able to give us confirmation yet, is that the HBCU Go deal that was supposedly for 10 years is no longer on the plate.
Yeah, I'm sure it's at least being restructured if nothing else.
It may be because and we just don't know the details at this time. That's one of the major reasons why you see most of the inventory still going toward the SWAC, and also the SWAC doesn't have a full.
What if everything you've been taught about happiness is wrong? We chase careers, approval, more stuff, hoping it'll finally make us feel fulfilled, but it never sticks. What if happiness isn't out there, but already inside you, just waiting to be unlocked? Discover the book, The Happiness Experiment. Every person has a unique happiness type, and when you understand yours, everything shifts. You'll stop chasing and start creating joy on your own terms. Discover your happiness type with a free happiness type assessment. Go to myhappinnesstype.com. That's myhappinnesstype.com. It takes just a minute and it might change your life. Then grab your copy of The Happiness Experiment at Books A Million. This isn't just a book, it's a practical framework, a journey inward. It's a tool to help you reconnect with the happiness that's been waiting inside you all along. Pick up The Happiness Experiment and start your happiness experiment today.
Between client meetings, managing your business, and everyday tasks, who has time to worry about website hosting? With Kinsta's managed WordPress hosting, you don't have to. They handle the technical stuff, delivering lightning-fast load times, enterprise-grade security, and 24/7 365 human-only support. Simply switching to Kinsta could make your site up to 200% faster. Kinsta's custom dashboard makes managing sites easy, with powerful features designed to save you time and effort. Plus, their free expert-led migrations ensure a smooth transition. Ready to see why Kinsta is trusted by thousands of businesses? Get your first month free at Kinsta.com. That's KINSTA.com. Kinsta. Simply better hosting.
As a designer, you know clients want it all. A stunning site that runs their business and scales with their success. But tight deadlines shouldn't mean compromising your vision. Wix Studio is built for designers like you. Plan sites in seconds with AI-powered site mapping. Then design, starting in Figma or in the Wix Studio editor with precise layout tools. Then bring your vision to life with no-code animations, AI tools, and one-click responsive design. Design smoother and deliver sooner. Go to wixstudio.com.
Commitment from ESPN. In years past, you will see more of the HBCU football content from the SWAC, MEAC, SIAC, as well as some of the CIAA, that they would put their content on ESPN Plus. That's why this is a big deal with that NCCU and South Carolina State game being moved at this time. Yes. If we had our own content, let's say the MEAC had their own app, yes, it wouldn't be a problem, would it?
No, you could run your game. Again, the fundamentals are make sure it's ease of access so somebody can get it. Number two, make sure that it's a good quality product. So again, the cameras work for everybody. Half the cameras are AI at this point. I told somebody today the technology has gotten so advanced. We shot Stillman's baseball season last year on 4 iPads, and nobody ever knew it because
really?
It was so clear.
Wow.
Yeah, it was so clear. All AI in most cases. So it makes sure you have a good quality product and then promote it. Tell everybody where it is, what's going on, and therefore you'll have the numbers. It's not a rocket science formula. It's just very hard to execute if you don't believe you can do it. And that was probably the mainstay of this industry forever. Make as they used to say to me, the phrase they used to use was, keep the ignorant ignorant. That's what they would say to us. And I was like, are you crazy? I'm a black man. I didn't go to an HBCU, but still when I walk in the room, I'm black. And I want you to change the way you think of a black person when they walk in the room. I want you to stop thinking that we're somehow scamming somebody and begin to respect our experience, our knowledge, and our workability, because in most cases, black people have built the processes and procedures and technology that the white folk use right now to keep us in financial bondage. It is scary to them to think of what would happen if they listen to Urban Edge Network, because they know we got a problem on our hands. We will no longer be able to come to upfronts, sell their stuff, not give them any of it, because Hardy them are standing in the same room with us, presenting before or after us. That's how I found out the OBC. And trust me, when we confronted the presenters of the OBC, I think they walked out of there with like $6 million worth of ads. Don't
really?
Give the OBC $1.
Wow.
And they were scared to ask for the money. I was
Wow.
like, what do I would hear phrases like, you're going to mess up my deal. I'm like, you don't have a deal. Number two, they don't want to give the money back. You have the leverage. So fear, and again, let's be clear. The Bible is clear. Fear is of the devil. That's Bible. And we have to come out of that. We're the most church-going, dancing, speaking in tongues folks in the world. And we have to need to start implementing what we're learning from a spiritual perspective and our knowledge level. You have institutions of higher learning that should be using this, as far as I'm concerned, as a part of their daily curriculum. Let me show you how to write. I do more guest lecturing and speakers at white schools than I ever did at HBCU.
And that's what I feel is very, very interesting, because think about what Hardy just said, guys. You can't be fearful. Number one, you have content, so therefore you have to have value in your content.
That's right.
If you don't believe in your content, who else will believe in your content?
100%.
I'm like, hey, if I'm not asking,
that's right.
I mean, I'm not doing my due diligence.
Right. And if they don't want to pay, create your own. I promise you, they'll call you back.
All right.
And that's what the NAIA realized that on the first meeting.
Okay, and that's where I wanted to switch over to, and that's a great segue right there, Hardy, because right now you guys have done, and I know we spoke about this early this summer about what was about to come with the NAIA, but in essence, your deals that you're putting together for the NAIA as a whole conference and their sub-conferences
Yes.
is really remarkable and groundbreaking, where these people are excited about the fact that Urban Edge Network is holding the technology to be able to produce our content on their apps too as well, because some of the games are going to be simulcast, right? So
That's correct.
so therefore, why the embracement from the NAIA and the disdain from our own?
Well, again, like I said, one of the presidents from the NAIA asked me offline. He literally called me on my cell phone after we had met. There's two things that are very distinctly different between the NAIA predominantly white institutions and the HBCUs. One, transparency. Ain't no behind the wall conversations going on. We talk directly.
And you
to
talked
the
about
president.
transparency as far as the dollars, or transparent?
All of it. The dollars, the information, the presentation. Remember, I do the same presentation for them that I do for the HBCUs. There was no difference. I just changed the logo. The difference is I speak to the president's council of each conference individually. I speak to the SIDs of the conferences, and I speak to the ADs along with the commissioners.
And how you receive?
They love it. Remember, these are business people in most cases. Matter of fact, one of the presidents, he had started a tech company. And he quizzed me like you wouldn't believe.
So in essence, they understand how this could benefit their conferences and their member institutions.
It was strictly business. It had nothing to do with race, color, creed, none of that. It was, yes, sir, you're right. In other words, we're not getting anything from ESPN. When they understood the exposure word as being deathly a couple of years ago, they just didn't know how to get out of it. So when we came to them with this alternative, they said, that's it. And none of them said, because you can do it, we'll do it. They said, no, you're the expert. You tell us what to do. What do you need from us to maximize this opportunity? The difference is black people, in my opinion, were trained to attack each other when we give them some information that they don't know themselves. If I was white, if Todd and I were white, we would have sold this company 18 months ago for about $600 million minimum. But they said, no, I don't think the black people are going to listen to them.
Yeah. All right.
Let the black guy kill him. Because if they listen to him, we're dead. They got us. They're the rights. But they were. That's when people asked me, like, well, why? Matter of fact, I was asked by one of the other conferences at the NAI, how did y'all get into the fight with Swack? Is what the question was. And I said, my answer literally was, I'm going to let you take me to dinner one day, and you're going to explain to me how you trained us to act toward each other. That was my answer. I want you to, but you're going to explain to me why the Swack attacked us, because there was no reason to attack us. They should have embraced us just like y'all did. But they did, because they said, wait a second, white people are the only ones supposed to do this. Now, if you can do it, in their mind, you make us look bad. Because I told everybody this is the best we can do.
Okay.
And now here you come along saying everything I told them was the best we could do. You saying that it's all wrong. I told somebody that, I said, if we were such scammers, then why are they copying what we did?
Exactly.
What we do every day.
Right. Exactly. And that's what I found that was perplexing, even after the announcement from the judge that pretty much, you go your way. He didn't rule anybody's favor, right?
Right.
It was like, okay, well, right now, guys, let them have that, and you guys go and on over there, and hey, man, I didn't see where anybody did anything wrong, but just...
He's like he broke the law or anything, but okay, for whatever reason you don't want them around. Okay, fine, you guys have the right to kill it if you want to.
Yeah.
Because again, like I said, I think he even mentioned it. Hell, Grambling didn't even show up. So it's like, it must not be that much of a big deal to them. The people that gave them the rights that they bought, they didn't even show up. No deposition, no nothing.
$3 million.
And you're right. So he's like, well, it must not be that important to them. Okay, cool.
When did $3 million become something you sneeze at? I'm just trying to understand.
Well, again, and again, this is just, I've been doing this almost 30 years, Kyle. The one thing I never, and it's my fault, I have to take responsibility for it. I never factored in our history as a people. Slavery, the economics effects of slavery, the psychological effects of slavery. I did not factor any of that in. And because in my mind, and I've spoken to many HBCU students and alumni and at a high level and a low level, and said, is this something normal? In other words, if I went to a Ku Klux Klan rally, I promise you every Ku Klux Klan member ain't going to allow me to be their director of marketing because I'm black. Forget my knowledge or anything else, I'm black. And they don't deal with black people. But somehow in the black space, they let the very people who put them in that position in the first place be the experts at anything. I was like, I would never take a meeting with any of these guys. The same guys that negotiated their deals for so-called quote unquote right fees with ESPN are considered experts in what we do every day that we've now demonstrated. Now remember, we're not celebrities, sir. We're not some billionaires. Two black men got together who are industry experts and built something from scratch. We didn't go acquire another company or anything like that. Literally, off $152,000, built a multi-million-dollar company right in front of everybody's face, including black people, white folk, and the industry, the agency industry, when I literally said to the folks from General Motors, and you can quote me on this, I said, either you people think black people are too stupid to do this, or you've created a system that black people couldn't participate. And the response was, well, you know what? We did have to change all of our systems to accommodate black media.
Meaning?
You Negroes are too stupid to do this. We had to change
meaning
the rules.
Let's get this straight. And guys, this is the one part that keeps being overlooked. If they educated those people, they would have been able to produce it the way they wanted it produced. Isn't that 100%. Correct?
100%. Because again, we are not a stupid people.
Exactly.
We're very bright people. It's just that they were trained to only receive the information, I should say, from a certain person.
Okay.
And if the person, as of now, the way it looks at it, if that information came from a black person, we were trained to fight that person. Now, when I grew up, they used to call it crabs in the barrel. I don't know what they call it now.
Oh, it's still crabs and barrels. It's still the same thing. Keeping each other down. You getting out this boat? No, you better come in back here with me, man.
Right.
So no.
Right. So and that's the part I didn't guesstimate or plan for in this process. I never thought that somebody would say, I got to kill him, or since he can do it, then forget what he's saying. I'll just do it myself. And I said, my endocrinologist is a African-American male. I've never thought that I could treat myself because he's black. I understand he's been to med school. He's been to specialty school. He's done all. So when I walk in and say, after 30 years of doing this every day, I thought everybody knew this. But then I realized, oh my God, they don't understand this. So let me tell them. Now I'm telling people, and I don't mind giving the information, is because I need you to know the fundamentals of this business. Because if you don't, when you hear me speak, you're going to think I am saying something that is a scam. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. Yeah. So
if you understand the fundamentals, though, when I start talking, you're going to say, oh, okay, do that for me, Hardy. Get it done.
Yeah. All right, Hardy. Guys, control your own content, but also seek people who are going to have your back and not stab you in the back when it comes to the content you have. Being able to make sure that, if you're producing quality content, somebody out there wants it. Especially, like you say, Hardy, live sports is king, right?
That's king.
Now, if you have your own conference, or you could be, if you're listening to this, if you're a high school, I don't know, it could be one of these independent high school systems or a private school. If you want to learn how to be able to control your content, you don't always have to give it to YouTube.
That's right.
And,
That's right.
in essence, what we're doing for YouTube is making money for them.
That's correct.
Because YouTube, it has been historically, it's getting worser and worser. They're not breaking off more of the revenue share to you any longer.
That's right.
Same thing I heard. Was it Country Wayne or somebody said for Facebook? It's like the dollars are falling. What's going on?
Yeah,
We're getting more traffic, but the dollars are falling. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't equate.
That's right. And listen, support SWAC TV. Download the app. Download HBCU Go. Download Urban Edge Network. I promise you, they got more than enough money. This ain't the Hunger Games over $5. They spend trillions of dollars in advertising, and for the first time, we are in the calling for it, and we willing to show anybody else how to do it too, because they got plenty of money. Don't believe the hype. You ain't got to kill me to get your budget.
So how can a small little podcaster like myself be able to make some money?
Yeah, I mean,
do I have to go out there and put some live sports on myself?
No, well, you know, I've always admired you. You know that because you get the best guests. You guys have the best format I've seen out of a lot of us. In fact, I hope a lot of the other podcasters have been reaching out to see the things that you're doing. There's plenty of stuff to cover out there, and the formatting itself, number one, and because of the way you guys present what you do, is always brand safe and always intriguing. We're gonna push as hard as we can to make sure that they're giving you your fair share. That is for sure. We're gonna give you an honest, hard day's work for that.
Well, I appreciate it, Hardy. Man, look, it's all about the love. But sometimes when I I think I was telling my son, yeah, it's all about love. But guys, it's got to make some dollars and cents here. And
yes,
I think right now we're in a point where keep doing what you guys are doing. Keep educating the people as much as possible. Keep getting the word out because somebody's listening. Now, everybody has – sometimes people need to hear like 10 times before it finally sinks in. They may be slow learners, but eventually – that's the thing about us. Eventually, we're going to learn. And hopefully ESPN – guys, this is a lesson. They are moving away from HBCU content. Yeah.
They're going to give it token exposure, if at all, just so you can't say they're racist in most cases. Because remember, ESPN has had to do what most companies have had to do is make a decision, haves and have-nots.
But this doesn't make sense to me, Hardy. And help me out with this, man. Remember 2 years ago, NFL Network, cutting, slashing. We're running our business, running our money.
Yeah.
Cutting, slashing. ESPN, cutting, slashing. We're running out of money.
Yeah.
CBS, Paramount Network, we're cutting, slashing. How do you keep on cutting, slashing, then you enter these multi-billion-dollar deals?
Multi-billion dollars. That is correct, sir. Yeah.
Guys, don't believe the hype sometimes when you read this stuff, guys. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and we are the consuming, driving revenue source for that. When the brand, remember I said this, there's not a brand or a category of business alive that doesn't start that marketing plan off with bullet point number one. How do we get the African Americans to buy it?
Really?
How do we get the African Americans to endorse it? Why do you think the first thing Target did when we said we're going to boycott them is they went and got the black vendors and said, now you go out there and tell them if they don't come in here, your number's going to go down.
and then they went to the churches. So I'm like,
to the church, anywhere. Go to the Negro and tell them to go out and tell them not to do this, because if they do it, it's going to mess us up. Now, here's the crazy part, and I'll let you go, Kyle. The biggest part for me was it was the first time I had realized ain't no black people own any national retail chains.
We don't own grocery stores.
We own nothing.
We own retail chains, right?
I hadn't even thought about it until that. I went, oh my God, we don't even have a black person. Now again, we're 14% of the population. Therefore, you have to accept either we're too stupid to do it, or there's a system in place that we can't participate. And I refuse to believe that black people are stupid.
No, we're not. You saw what they're trying to do to Uncle Nearest, right?
Yeah, absolutely. She done got too high now. I got to bring you down now. I got to sue you. I hate to say this because it sounds bad. That's when I knew we were making a real difference, when we started getting attacked. And nobody ever attacked us on what we were doing. They were saying they are scammers. They scamming you. And nobody ever said, well, what's the scam? Because let's be clear from the misunderstanding. When we first got to Grambling, this is a quote. Grambling was on hold from Adidas, who's supposedly their apparel partner, where you see Adidas logos everywhere.
You sure do. Yeah.
They were on a credit hold and couldn't buy even shoestrings when I got there.
Why wasn't Adidas giving them the equipment?
I have no idea, sir. They don't, again, most of them don't know how to do an apparel deal. And you think they'd call me and say, because I do it for free. Hardy, how do I actually do this deal? And I'll show them how to do it. But there's this thing that we were trained not to work together. I don't understand it. And like I said, maybe somebody reading or the article or listening to the podcast will call me and DM me and say, let me take you out to eat. Let me show you what happened to us. Because I've never understood it since day one. The recruitment budget at Grambling was zero. And you can call Coach Hugh Jackson right now. He'll tell you himself. When I say zero, I don't mean they had like $1,000 in the account. Zero.
Wow.
And they didn't show up for the lawsuit to say, hey, if nothing else, we did sell them our rights. Let's work out something so we can work together. Let's get the commissioner what he needs so we don't lose what we got. They didn't even show up.
Wow.
So the judge had no choice but to say, well, it must not be that important to him. All right, here's a clause I found to get you out of it. They didn't coordinate with you, fine, Mr. Commissioner. You can void them getting $3 million, sir.
Look, Hardy, going back to this Uncle Nearest situation, they had a former CFO that was the one that really created this whole downfall. Now, it's not even downfall yet but what they're trying to do is that bank is trying to take over and kind of run the show, so to speak.
That's right.
They're not just trying to take over and run the show if it was a non-producing entity, would they?
That's right.
So she kind of, Mike's, what's his name? The former CFO's Mike Suzuki.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
We got to watch who we trust, right?
100%. And again, that's why I've always tried to educate our people on what I call the fundamentals. My buddy always used to tell me, the fundamentals don't change. I don't care if you're driving a car or driving ice cream or doing ice cream business. The fundamentals don't change. We have to understand and learn the fundamentals of what we're getting into, because if you do things just because you see Urban Edge do it, remember, we're experts at this. Right. But I'm not an expert at being an athletic director. Right. Or commissioner or president of the university. I tell people all the time, the one reason why I love President Gallo from Grambling, he let me basically shadow him. So I got to watch for a year everything he had to go through as a president. Wow. From academics to enrollment to insurance to, oh, by the way, athletics to athletic groups, PR. I got to watch him and I went, oh my goodness, this is crazy. So no wonder you don't care about your media rights yet. By the time you get to the media rights, you're ready to go to sleep. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you got a lot of other priorities, guy.
You got so much other stuff going on, right? So that's why I had an understanding of that piece of it. And I think a lot of us, we try to do things that we're not trained or experts at, and it ends up digging the hole worse. That's why we stay in our lane. We stay in what we do, how we do it. And the industry, let's be clear, they're only afraid of one thing from black people.
What's that?
And that's unity. That's it.
And also education, understanding.
Education. That's correct.
Right.
And I, like I said before, I told Todd a long time ago, I don't care what happens. I just want the industry to respect us. I want them to understand these guys ain't gonna do no buck dancing. There ain't gonna be no ass kissing. They're gonna come in here shucking and jiving. They're gonna understand exactly what they're talking about. They're gonna understand what we're talking about, and we're gonna have to treat them just with the same level of respect that we treat ESPN, CBS Sports, TNT, and anybody else coming here. Because if not, they're not afraid of us.
Okay, gotcha. Well, Hardy, man, pleasure as always. Thanks for educating and breaking it down. But guys, look, don't be surprised. The rest of the season, you're going to have more rescheduling coming along.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just letting you guys know that right now. And don't be surprised next season that some of these games won't ever be a part of ESPN again.
Yeah, that's a reality.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Let's show the world we understand who we are and we understand how to do this better than anybody else. I think anytime black folks put their hand to the plow, I think we've always demonstrated time and time again over the history of the world that when black folk come together and we work, nobody can touch us.
Definitely. All right, that's Mr. Hardy Pelt, CRO of Urban Edge Network. These guys are cornering the market in broadcasting, digital broadcasting, streaming. They're going to have over 100 games on the NAIA this season, and hopefully you'll see more of their content out there, and let's support the Urban Edge app as well. Hardy, tell everybody how they can find you out there on social media and the World Wide Web.
First of all, y'all keep praying for us. Download the app, mobile, iOS, of course your Google Play, and all your smart and connected TVs, UEN, and then of course online at urbanedgenetwork.net, 24/7.
All right. Excellent. And guys, I'm Kyle T. Mosley of HBCU Legends. You go to HBCU Legends on all social media platforms, as well as you can follow me, myself, KTMOZE, at all of those social media platforms as well. Hardy, thank you, sir. Have a great Sunday, man.
Thank you, Kyle.
All right. Take care. Bye.
As a designer, you know clients want it all. A stunning site that runs their business and scales with their success. But tight deadlines shouldn't mean compromising your vision. Wix Studio is built for designers like you. Plan sites in seconds with AI-powered site mapping. Then design, starting in Figma or in the Wix Studio editor with precise layout tools. Then bring your vision to life with no-code animations, AI tools, and one-click responsive design. Design smoother and deliver sooner. Go to wixstudio.com.
If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.